All right, so example 1, we're solving for y, which means get the y by itself, which means write this equation in slope-intercept form or y equals mx plus b form, okay? I want the y by itself. Right now, my y is attached to a -2 and also to a -8x, okay? So leave the circle alone. The first thing we always do is get rid of the x. If there's an x on the same side as your y, you need to move it over to the other side. That's always, always first. And we do the opposite, okay? So since this is a -8x, we're going to add 8x on both sides. And remember, it hangs off over here on the right. Don't put it under the 16. Those aren't like terms. The 16 doesn't have an x, so you can't subtract those. So now I got rid of my x that was on the first side of my equation. So now I'm just going to bring everything down, okay? You're not adding or subtracting anything. You're just bringing things down. So bring down your -2y, bring down your equal sign, bring down your 8x, and bring down your +16. That's it. You didn't have to combine anything. We just moved the -8x over, and since we moved it across the equal sign, its sign changed. That's step 1. Now, remember, I just want y. I don't want -2y. So now that coefficient has to go. I got to get rid of that -2. All right? The first step is always to add or subtract. The second step is always to divide. So get rid of that -2 by dividing. And what do you divide? Everything in the equation. Every term gets divided by a -2. Remember, when you divide by a negative, all your signs are going to change. So if something started out negative, it should now be positive. And if it started out positive, it will now be negative. So what does that leave me with? Well, these -2's divide out. So I finally just have my y, which is what I wanted. This was a +8x, so I know it's going to be negative. And 8 divided by 2 is 4. Don't forget your x. This was a +16, so it's going to be negative. And 16 divided by 2 is 8. So here's my new equation. And I'm going to write the formula underneath it because now the m and the b will line up for you. So what is my m? -4. That's my slope. You can also write it or type it in your Google form as -4/1. That will be also considered correct. What is my b? -8. You don't want this one to be a fraction, but if you get confused and you're not sure, you can type it as -8/1. That is also going to come up as correct in your Google form. So this is what you're going to do when you enter your exit ticket. So I know you solved correctly. You're just going to say when you solved for y, what was m, you'll simply type -4. And what was b, you'd simply type -8. Don't put b equals, just the number. Always, always just the number for the Google form. So now you're going to have 4 practice problems. You should have time to do at least 2 of them. Some of you will get through all 4, and then it'll be time for your exit ticket.